Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Join Terry with Tracer Rounds every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern to hear interviews with veteran artists, veteran business owners, and businesses that support veterans. Catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and MB Radio. If you miss a show, you can listen again on Wreaths Across America Radio every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tune in to see if you are on target. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
And welcome back to the Tracer Round Show. And I'm Terry, your host, and you're on Military Broadcast Radio, where we're giving veterans a voice. And tonight's voice is to veteran music artist Scotti Fraser. Welcome, Scotti.
Thank you so very much, Terry. It's an honor to be here with you tonight.
I'm so excited to have you. I listen to your music all the time, and I want to hear more about that. But first, I want to hear about your military service. What made you join the military? I know you were USMC, you're a Marine. What was it that drove you to the Marine Corps versus another service? And then can you just tell us a little bit about what you did in the military?
Great. Well, I grew up out on the West Coast, and I grew up in the shadows of a very imposing, big figure of a father who was a combat veteran, actually fought for the British in World War II. And that inspired me. I was surrounded by an extensive amount of military extended family. And ever since I was a young kid, you know, I had two dreams, and it was to be a rock star or to be a Marine specifically.
Right.
And I was able to live out one of those dreams and kind of, you know, chase the other one a little bit, so to say. But yeah, it was the Marines for me. I had played in successful music groups out there in California, bouncing between San Francisco and Hollywood. And for many years in my teenage years, toured the West Coast and done some really kind of cool stuff like that. Bunch of teenage kids living out of a van, playing rock and roll from San Diego to Canada. And, you know, I really loved playing music. Music was always there for me. Music was always my hope. It was my voice. And, but there came a time in my early 20s where something was missing. And it was time to hang up the guitar temporarily and grab the M16, if you will. And I enlisted in the Marine Corps. I chose an infantry MOS, and I chose the Marine Corps because I felt, for me, that was the biggest, hardest challenge that would be out there in the military. I knew that they had a very strong strong brotherhood of warriors. And I wanted what I felt for me would be the biggest challenge in my life. And the Marine Corps did not disappoint.
I bet it didn't. I would agree with you when you say it's one of the hardest and it's one of the most challenging things you'll face. I don't disagree. I agree that the Marine Corps is probably the elite.
Well, thank you very much for that. I feel that as well. And I know that all Marines feel that as well. I have great respect for all my brothers and sisters that serve in the other branches. No loss of love there. I have high respect for everyone who raises their right hand and serves this country. We're all one team, one fight. We're all brothers and sisters in it. For me, it was the Marine Corps, and I wanted that hard challenge. They do not sugarcoat things. They let you know there's going to be mud, there's going to be barbed wire, there's going to be pain, and blood blisters on your feet, and bad food, bad living accommodations, poor pay, and all of that, but a high camaraderie. And it's a brotherhood that's carried me even to my years after service right now. So.
Absolutely. So where did you go? I know you say you were infantry, but what did you do? Or did you go on any deployments? You were a combat veteran, so you went to Afghanistan or Iraq? Where did you go? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I bounced around quite a bit. I was able to see places like Kaneohe Bay, Marine Corps Base in Hawaii, and train in some of the jungle warfare training programs there. I was able to serve in Guantanamo, Cuba. So that was some really, really intense duty, but it was a really, really good duty station for me. Of course, I saw San Diego and did some training down at a couple SEAL compounds on the Coronado down there, and then also at Dam Neck on the East Coast, Norfolk. And my combat tour was Iraq in the push, the initial invasion. Crossed the border on D-Day and into Iraq on day one, and fought there in numerous firefights. Part of Regimental Combat Team 1, augmented into the 1st Marines there, and it was quite a spring break tour, Yeah,
right. One you probably don't want to repeat anytime real soon.
If the Marine Corps was taking grumpy old men over 40 years old with bad knees and back arthritis and things like that, I'd be the first to enlist to be ready to go back. So
that says something.
Yeah.
That really says a lot about you and a lot about the service, that you'd want to go back and do that again.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody, I would say nobody wants to go to war, but I think maybe the Marines do. That's what we're geared for. That's the only reason that we exist, is to fight America's wars and win battles. And, I as hard and savage as the environment was, as challenging and painful, and sleep deprivation and hunger and thirst and heat and cold, I miss it every day. And I see those guys I served with in my sleep every night. So it's just an absolute honor. And it really formed me into the man I am today, formed me into the dad I am today, into the husband I am today. And it really formed the inspiration for this music career that I do now. These songs are, a lot of that inspiration comes from the men, the Marines that I served with, and the experiences we had together. To try and, bring about this music career that's intended to bring hope and inspiration and positivity to all folks.
So you did music before you went in the Marines, and you're doing music after the Marines. So is your music changed from what you did prior to what you're doing now, or is it along the same line? The lyrics are probably different and maybe the storylines are different, but is it the same style of music, or is it a little bit edgier or harder, or what would you say the difference would be, if there is any?
Music that I played in California when I was growing up, I had a lot of experience in my younger years in in the punk rock scene out there, and that was a pretty tight knit scene. And then I also moved into more of that late 80s, early 90s, that Guns N' Roses kind of vibe, grew the hair out and all that. And so my music career has morphed and changed, but I've always had that foundation of sonically. My first love in music was Elvis Presley. I loved the style. I loved the sound. Elvis Presley was, I've always been attracted to larger than life musical people.
Yeah.
People like Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Kiss, Aerosmith, bands like that were just larger than life.
Right.
And also Elvis had amazing hair.
He did.
And a really cool style. I mean, he had so much attitude, him and Johnny Cash, so much attitude. So my stuff may have different amplifier sounds and different tempos, but it really comes from that basis of that original old school American rock and roll.
I don't know if you will find any exception to this or not, but when I kind of try to see influences in your style or your music, I see Billy Idol, I see Bruce Springsteen, and John Mellencamp. And so I don't know if you take any exception to that, but that's kind of what I see too. I hear the other stuff you're talking about, but I also see those influences. And I don't know if they had anything to do with what you do now, but I kind of see it style wise. And then, some of the music too. So I don't know if that's anywhere near what you would think or not.
I'm very, very honored at that. Actually, sonically and the sound wise of those early Springsteen, Mellencamp, Tom Petty, those straight up American rock and roll records. Those did have some influence. I really kind of just fell into this style, just that straight up American rock and roll, that American radio rock and roll with that country influence, that Americana influence. It just always seemed to feel natural fit to me, but I'm very honored at those comparisons. Maybe the scratchy gravel in the voice, that kind of vibe of those guys, maybe that's kind of a place that I do fit really well.
Yeah, I think so. But I definitely hear the other influences as well, but those kind of just stick out to me.
Yeah, Mellencamp is still one of my all-time favorites. I mean, he really was one of the first ones back in the 80s that really combined rock and roll and melody and country and folk and combined so much together with so much attitude. It was just something really special that he did.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, his music, like you're talking about Americana, his was Americana. I mean, that, little pink houses and,
Right.
and Jack and Diane. I mean, I don't think that gets any more Americana.
Right. Those American stories. Absolutely. Inspired by this great American experience that we all have. Absolutely.
So you have a mission or a slogan I'm not sure what you want to call it. Slogan, I guess. Mission and music. So what is that to you, and how do you use that to support the veteran community or any community in general? What are you doing with that mission and music?
Well, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. This started out as really going into my home studio at 3:00 in the morning after regular recurring nightmares that I have from my combat experiences in Iraq. And, instead of reaching for the bottle, I decided to reach for the guitar, and I found respite and hope and healing through that. I know a lot of veterans, that's a really good release for them is music. We all have those songs in our life, right? That made a difference in our life, that got us through the tough time. Those songs that cycle through, they remind us of maybe when our first child was born, or our kids, or our wedding day, or when we lost someone special to us, that song that got us through those tough times. So what turned into going to music for hope, for my own healing, turned into this mission. And we call it the Never Surrender Tour. And it's a never surrender mission to offer hope and empowerment to veterans, first responders, and all people struggling through hardships, to try and put positive messages in the lyrics, like I will never surrender on this life. Another song, I might break down, but I am unbroken. And those stories, to try and get it to resonate in people's minds. You know, when you say something kind of over and over, you start to believe it.
Right.
And I hope that when someone is having a rough day and they don't know if they can go on, that they stand there and they look in the mirror and they sing one of my songs and they say, I will never surrender on this life. And so, yes, it's definitely a mission to stem the tide of suicide, to bring awareness of PTSD, and really just to bring camaraderie and connection to people and bring people together, bring hope.
You're so right, though. When you want to be at a certain place, I guess, emotionally or maybe mentally, you pick a song that you know that either jazzes you up, it either slows you down, or it just soothes you. You know that music does transcend languages and cultures and all that. If there's a really good song and it has that message that you just resonate with,
Right.
it makes all the difference. You know, music really is at the heartbeat of all of us, I think.
Absolutely. I think music transcends, gender and race and color and religion and all this. I mean, everybody's moved by music.
Yes.
So it's something that really unites people. And I see all different walks of life at my shows, veteran, civilian, otherwise. And, when we're laying into a song and it really hits them just right and people are moving, dancing, bobbing their heads, rocking out. It's just by bringing that happiness and that healing to people, I really find that it's healing me from my emotional wounds of war as well. So it's very reciprocal.
Well, that's awesome that it does it for you as well as the listener, because I know for sure that your lyrics are very empowering and they're very motivating in a positive way. And so we appreciate that we get that benefit and that you do too. So let's play Never Surrender. So that way the audience can really take in your lyrics and take in the message that you're trying to convey. And then you can tell us maybe about when you wrote it or how you wrote it or how you write in general, because I'd really like to know that too.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, here we go.
I was broken for a while, a drop of blood for every mile I'm on. I took all that they gave and lived to fight another day. But if today is all I get, I'll make my mark and you can bet that I'll never surrender on this life. And I'll never surrender on this life. I can't change the past, but I can change how not mistakes that make us, but the lessons learned. Because what doesn't kill me will make me stronger in the end. And I'll never surrender. On this life, and I'll never surrender. On this life, and even if I fall, I'll get back up, standing tall again, with a medal on my chest. God knows I've done my best, because what doesn't kill me will make me stronger in the end. And I'll never surrender. On this life, 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 on this life.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
And you just heard Never Surrender by Scotti Fraser, who is my guest tonight on Military Broadcast Radio. And I love that song, and I love the message around it. And MJ was in the comments. She's one of our hosts on the World of Conscious Positive Thinking. She was saying music to my soul, and I agree.
Well, thank you very, very much for your kind words. Really appreciate that.
So how did you write that? Were you thinking of something at a time, or were you thinking of you wanting something inspirational? What was the driving force behind the song besides not surrendering and not giving up on life?
Right. Well, it really just kind of popped in my head. Again, as I mentioned, I suffer with nightmares and memories of flashbacks and stuff like that, memories of combat, as a lot of veterans do. I had just gotten word of another veteran friend that lost his battle with his demons, and we lose a lot of them, and the numbers are higher than the 22 a day that we talk about. So I went into the studio, the home studio here, 3 o'clock in the morning. I get these nightmares. I don't know why it's always at 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe it had something to do with all the night patrols we did over there. Yeah. But I wanted to take a stand against the epidemic of veteran suicide in this country. I wanted to do something. I wanted to use my voice and to use my God-given gifts with a lifetime of playing guitar to try and make a statement, to do something. And and I started penning down the lyrics to this song. I was broken for a while. That's my story. When I came home from the Middle East, I was very broken and dealing with a lot of emotions and memories. And I just wrote it from firsthand perspective. And I hoped that a lot of people who feel those same feelings of facing challenges would relate to it. I just wanted it to be an anthem, really an anthem for the brokenhearted, and an anthem to stand up and take a positive stance against the veteran suicide epidemic.
And I think it is that message. I think it has that capacity to really put someone in a good mental space to say, you know, no, not today. I'm living this day. I've got this. So I think that really does resonate well with a lot of people, and with people that need to hear that message. I think it'll be a message of hope.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is intended to be, as a message of hope. So for sure.
That's awesome. So I was going to ask you, was there somebody musically in your family before you started playing music, or was it just that you started playing music because, you know, that was the thing to do in California at that time?
I don't know if I chose music. I think music chose me. Maybe God put me on this trajectory. When I was very young, um, I remember my dad taking me from the suburbs into the big city in San Francisco to go see my older half brother, and he was and is still a very accomplished musician, also a
Okay.
huge Elvis fan. And he really kind of connected me with kind of every weekend when we'd go see him, I'd get like an Elvis poster or like an Elvis record or something like that. And it really, at a very, very formidable young age, really just connected me to this thing of rock and roll. And I didn't quite understand it, but it was very, very attractive to me at that point. So even from my very, very youngest years, there was something about music and that American rock and roll that really attracted me.
You can definitely tell. I mean, you can tell that you have a love for what you're doing, because if you didn't, you wouldn't still be doing it all these years later, and you wouldn't still be trying to make a difference with the music. So obviously, I can tell you do enjoy it, and we enjoy hearing the music. So I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
So in I was going to say, do you well, I know you've helped us as a military broadcast radio, and help one of our hosts, Grizz, to put on some music for veterans at the veterans home in Washington State.
Right,
And
right.
so you do a lot of those types of events. What do you find that the veterans there, how do you feel that they respond to your music and respond to you coming in and performing for them?
I always get really, really great response. There's always different feelings and interactions, but it's always generally positive. There are times where and I choose my song list very carefully. I've done PTSD retreats and things, and I've done USO events, and you have to choose that song. Some of my songs can be pretty heavy, and I want to be cautious sometimes, not to emotionally take somebody back
Right.
too strongly, and I want to lift people up. But I notice that music is cathartic, and sometimes it helps people to kind of, process those feelings and those emotions and memories. But I will say that whether it's one of those military focused events, or whether it's at a rock club, there's always a couple people that come up to me after the show and say, "Hey, Scotti, like, that's my story. That's my song." I write all these songs. I do all original music, but I like to say these are all our songs. I try and write all our story, that to connect us all.
So how do you find it's best for you to write? I know you said that you got up at 3 a.m. and wrote Never Surrender, but is that typically the way it happens for you? Or do you sit down purposely, okay, let's write a song today? Is it just something that comes to you, or is it just something that you are in the moment and you say, okay, I've got these lyrics, I got to do this now?
I will tell you, um, I'm not that much of a structured songwriter. I don't necessarily have a 10 o'clock is my time. I go in the studio, I sit down for an hour, I hold the guitar. Um, on the one hand, I'm always playing guitar. Um, I seem to grab it every couple hours in my daily life. Lyrics and from inspiration, from stories, from people I know, and experiences. Lyrics are always cycling through my head. It's almost like there's multiple voices going through my head, and I have multiple songs resonating through pieces and parts, and I put it down on paper or on the laptop and start trying to congruently put these coherent thoughts together. But I will tell you, a lot of time, like I'm on my run or I'm at the gym or I'm at the beach or something like that, and something just kind of hits me.
Yeah.
There's even times when I wake up from sleep and a chord progression is just cycling through my head, and I can kind of pick out with that melody in my head, like, okay, that's maybe G to D to A, maybe it's a G major scale and those kinds of things. And then I rush home, grab the guitar and see if I can put it together that way. So.
And speaking of guitars, why a Les Paul?
The Les Paul, to me, I mean, they started making them in the 50s, and I love that old vintagey, tried and true American type of thing, instrument like that. A Les Paul is a very heavy guitar. I mean, they weigh on average about 10 pounds.
Yeah.
But there's something about the warmth and the fullness of the sound that comes out of those vintage styled guitars that I just absolutely love. It's heavy on the back to hold that thing for long shows.
I bet.
But there's just something about that classic style of what that instrument brings. I'm very, very blessed that in June, I've been invited to go to the Gibson factory in Nashville, and they'll be taking me on with some other veterans. They'll be taking us on a tour of the Gibson factory, and I'm over the moon with that because it's just always been that Les Paul for me. So.
I like the older vintage style guitars too. I think, like you say, they their sound quality and just the way they're built, and then the way they warm up to you when you're holding them. Not that I play, mind you. I mean, I've held guitars, but just watching somebody with that instrument and watching them play and watching them enjoy what they're doing. Les Paul and some of those older vintage guitars just seem to have it more so than the newer versions of those guitars, different guitars.
And everybody's got, their muse or something that speaks to them. For me, just that Gibson Les Paul in my hands just feels right. It's just like having my wife of 20 years with my arm around her. It just feels right,
Right.
Special.
Do your kids play? Or are you encouraging them to play an instrument or to sing or do any of that?
My kids have taken music lessons when they were younger. My son is actually more driven to be a high-level athlete right now. So
good for him.
Focused on football. But they both have an uncanny ability to remember lyrics and,
awesome.
and melody and music.
So did you study music at all? Did you go anywhere and learn music, or did you do it in high school too? Or how did you really perfect your craft?
By default, I would say I'm a student of music. I didn't go to a formal school. I'm self-taught, and self-taught by that I've been very blessed to be in bands with some amazing musicians that I would pick up chords along the way. I'm always watching. I'm always studying. I'm really no fun to go to a concert with, because I can't just sit back and enjoy the band that's playing. I'm studying, like, oh, what's that chord structure? How are they playing? How are they strumming? How are they doing that? I'm always studying. I like to say that from everyone that I see playing music, I learned something. Whether they've been playing for 1 month or whether they're a master musician that's been playing all their life, I can learn something from everybody. And I'm always trying to pick up little tricks and little, new chords and things like that. So I'm actually I take music theory lessons from a Berklee School of Music graduate, and I've been in lessons for many years now, and I'm just constantly trying to learn the guitar more and more to bring the very best I can to the listener's experience when I play music.
Well, I think you're doing just that. So all your hard work is paying off.
It's a passion. It's a passion of life.
You said you're doing a veterans event in San Antonio on June 11th. What are you doing?
Well, I am doing a singer-songwriter, a veteran songwriter showcase in San Antonio, Texas, right down the road from the Alamo. And it is a wonderful venue called Fitzgerald's, and it is owned by two sisters that are military brats. Their dad was career Army, and he is no longer with us. And in his honor, they carry on by supporting veterans and the voices of veterans as well. They have, multiple different styles of acts and national touring acts that go through Fitzgerald's. We're going to do Scotti Fraser's veteran songwriter showcase June 11th at Fitzgerald, San Antonio. And I will have a number of amazing songwriters who served, and that'll be doing original music and telling their stories through the songs, stories of power and inspiration and hope. So it's going to be a really, really cool night. June 11th, San Antonio, Texas at Fitzgerald's.
So do you pick people for that? Do they sign up for that? How does that happen?
All of the musicians that will be playing on that event are by invitation. Yes. On that particular event. Yes.
So, but are you writing for veterans? Are they coming to have songs made, or is it a showcase of veteran musicians that's on it's a concert type event?
It's absolutely a concert type. It's like a songwriter round like they have in Nashville. Okay. We'll have a panel of musicians, and we'll go one by one, and they'll do a song and tell the story behind the song. And it's really to showcase other musicians.
Yeah.
It's not about me necessarily giving advice or direction. It's really just about showcasing some other veteran musicians around here that I think are absolutely amazing and should be put on a pedestal, and that I think people should be hearing. So.
Well, I love that you're supporting others as well as supporting your music. I mean, I love that you make a platform for others to grow and to share their music and make a difference. So that's pretty awesome.
Thank you very much. And, if I can segue into it, a lot of this, really this mission in music and the Never Surrender tour, the Never Surrender mission really turned into when I started this record label, this music production company called Sargent Records. And Sargent Records is really there to spotlight veteran musicians and get their voices heard. And it's really to showcase others and showcase these amazing talents. There are so many amazing veteran musicians, and I know that Military Broadcast Radio showcases a lot of them. There's so many of them in this country right now that I keep, discovering and coming across more. And they have these powerful stories, and I really think they should be heard. But that's what we try and do with Sargent Records. We put on these events like the one we're talking about, and mostly here in Texas. And we try and bring the Never Surrender tour. We want to bring it across the country, far and wide, like we talked about doing when Grizz put on the event that we performed at in Washington for the old soldiers home. We want to do those things. On our website, sergeantrecords.com, you'll find some of the artists that we support, and you'll also find a resource tab. It's a record label with a resource tab, and there's resources from financial help to PTSD help. We have the Veterans Crisis Line number on there, and there's numerous veteran-owned businesses that support veteran causes. So we'd love people to get connected and, showcase these amazing artists.
That's awesome. How many will you have in the for the June 11th?
So far, we've got 6. That number seems to keep growing. So
awesome.
It's going to be we're gonna have a bunch of us up there, and I'll be performing as well. But I'll just be part of the the cadre of musicians that'll be showcased. So.
And you've got some other dates coming up, South Texas. Do you want to talk about any of those that you're going to be?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be Sergeant Records and Scotti Fraser Band will be providing the music for a really cool barbecue cook-off festival at the American Legion, Post 554 here on the south side of Houston in League City, and it's their biggest charity fundraiser event of the year. Also, there is in September a festival on Galveston, right by the water, called the Gulf Stock Festival, and it supports veteran causes, and I'll be performing for my second year at that festival. So we'll be bouncing around quite a bit. There's some talks about, like I'll be heading back to Nashville, to Gibson, and there's some talk about some other places like Washington again, and South Carolina, and some other places.
That's awesome. I may have to come to Galveston for that September date. That sounds like a really fun time.
It's a really, really great time. It is just smiles as far as you can see. It's the old section of Galveston. It looks like you're back in New Orleans back in the 1800s, and it's a really cool vibe. There's some rock and roll, there's some country, there's some folk, there's some hippie. It's just a really neat blend of all these different styles of people that all come together. And Galveston is just a wonderful, wonderful place for that. We'd love to roll out the red carpet for you and have you guys come down.
That sounds great. So I thought we'd play another song. What song would you want me to play of yours? Do you have
I would love you if you've got American Made.
I've got
that's
it.
kind of the quintessential. That's my story. I think it's a lot of our story, and it was written kind of from that third person perspective of trying to write a song about that American experience. It's about a guy who serves and makes the sacrifice and comes back to maybe some hardships and some challenges, but through it all can smile and realize that even through the hardship and through the challenges, that he's living the American dream.
I love that. So let's play it. Here we go.
that he can't pay. But he's clinging to the good book and a Chevrolet. And he's still proud to say until his dying day, he's American made. Until his dying day, he's American made. He'll stand up for the colors, and that won't ever change. And when he feels like he's back over there, he turns it up top 10 and lets that radio play. And he's American made. Until his dying day, he's American made. Until his dying day, he's American made. Until his dying day, he's American made.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at nbradio.net.
And we're back, and that was American Made by Scotti Fraser. That was amazing.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Is,
that.
is that car yours?
That is a dear friend of mine's car. It's a Marine Corps veteran.
That's
as
awesome
well.
car.
Yeah, I've always been, as we talked about the guitars, and I've always just been attracted to those classic era things. I've had a number of classic cars. My favorite was the 55 Oldsmobile Rocket 88.
Oh, wow.
Arguably my most reliable car I ever had. But yeah. That's
awesome.
a 55 Mercury right there. So very special.
Very, very neat looking car. I mean, very clean. You don't find cars like that anymore.
Yeah. It's very, very special. Absolutely. Yeah. They don't make them like they used to.
They don't, because they all look too much the same. Because back in the day when they had 55 Chevys, and they had, even in the 70s when they had, and the 60s when they had the Super Sport Camaros, and they had the Barracudas, and then the Cudas, and you got Roadrunners and Mach 1s. I mean, like, they're totally different. Like, nothing's like them today. They tried to bring some of them back, and so it's kind of cool that they did, but
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm quite convinced.
I grew up with old cars, and I remember being a teenager and having a 75 Dodge Dart. Me and my stepdad built a pretty nice 340 short block engine and put it in there, and that thing would take off. But I had a 65 T-Bird as well, with the steering wheel that slides over so you can get in. And it was the first year with the power windows. So I've had a few of those things, and a Ford Fairlane, and yeah.
Have you ever tried to track down an old car that you had that you wanted back?
I haven't, but that is an idea. I've definitely got my eye on some things right now. So They are a lot of work, but if you've got that kind of time, my gig and travel schedule keeps me moving, and my recording studio schedule keeps me moving so much that I just wouldn't have the time right now to work on something. But when that time comes, yeah, maybe a 57 Chevy Bel Air.
There you go. There you go. My brother-in-law has one, and he's had it for a long, long time, and it's pretty clean looking, like that Mercury.
Right, right.
So, I was gonna ask. Now I've lost my train of thought because I got to thinking about cars. Because I was wanting my '70 Cuda back, is what I was wanting, because it had a
Right.
440 with a six pack, and it was all
Yeah,
chrome.
446 pack. Amen.
Yeah, and it was called the Road Ripper. That was the name of the car. It had a mural inside the hood, and so I think about that car often.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's part of the that's American made right there. That's the American experience. This love affair with rock and roll and cars, and that small town Main Street on Saturday night, and cruising Main Street and the Dairy Queen and all that. I mean, yeah, that's everything that goes into my songs.
And so, how did you write American Made? Did you have any particular inspiration, or you just wanted a feel-good song that, kind of just brought people together and celebrated the American way of life, basically?
Well, first off, I'll say, Travis, it's good to see you too, brother. Travis, a dear friend,
He's
was on
good
his
people.
podcast. Good dude, and a blood brother right there. So thank you so much, brother.
Another Marine.
Another Marine. That's right. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
That's right.
That song was really inspired just by when I first started building my studio. I had this huge American flag, 10-foot American flag across one wall. And I would, come in here, and when the moment struck me, and I'd write songs and stare right at that flag. And that really that flag, I mean, it's tattooed on my heart and it's tattooed on my arm. I just wanted to share my story of, kind of seeing turmoil in this country start in a new way, about 5 years ago. And recently, I just wanted to put a positive light on this greatest country. My friend, I've been all over this world, and I've been to a lot of places that are good, and I've been a lot of places that are not so good. And I really feel that even on our worst day here, that we've got it better than anywhere else in the world. We live in a country where, yes, we can always work to improve things and make things better, and we should strive for that as Americans. But we live in a country where I would say that every house, if not the vast majority of them, has a flushing toilet and a refrigerator. And if you go into any grocery store in this country, the food is taller than the people. The shelves at my Kroger are 7 foot high. I mean, what a great place that we live. And I wanted to write a song that said something positive about that. That even though we may have financial struggles, and there may be challenges, and there may be dissension, we are still living in the greatest country on earth. And I'm very, very proud that my music and myself is American made.
I love that. I want to show a picture real quick, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the young Marine. How long ago was this picture taken? Was it right as you were going to get out, or was it somewhere in the middle of your career? How long did you actually spend in the Marine Corps?
I spent 10 years in the Marine Corps. That photo was taken at the Marine Corps birthday ball in San Francisco in 2003.
Okay, just before you got out.
Yeah, my first major public, semi-public engagement that I've been to post-combat. That photo is my girlfriend at the time, now my wife of over 20 years, and the mother of my children.
That's awesome.
And it was a very, very special night to be with my brothers, and for us to have our significant others with us. But yeah, that was 2003, Marine Corps birthday, November. So just after returning home from the front lines.
Looking pretty sharp in that uniform.
There's something. I have total respect for all branches of service, but that uniform when you see it. So
yes,
yeah,
definitely a well-respected uniform and the people who wear them.
And it's an absolute honor. I mean, I look at that photo, and I mean, I'm looking at it now. I mean, I almost can't believe the blessing in my life. I feel the God-given blessing that I was able to make it through boot camp and able to serve in the Marine Corps. I mean, just the greatest honor of my life is to be a dad to my kids and to have been able to give back to help other people around the world as a U.S. Marine. So,
and you're still doing it as a veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps. You're still giving back, and you're still making a difference, and you're still spending that positivity out into the communities where it's needed the most, because sometimes we forget we have a lot going for us and we have a lot to live for.
And, for me, it makes me feel that I'm still in the fight. Focusing so much on keeping other people from jumping off the ledge keeps me from jumping off the ledge, because I'm not a guy that's got all the answers. I've got challenges and the difficulties and the emotions and the nightmares and all that stuff too. But really the mission continues, and it makes me feel like I'm still a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and I'm still vibrant. And it's a mission to bring hope and empowerment to other people. And I just want people to know, as we come to a close, that the mission in my music is really just to tell people that your story matters. So everyone listening and watching, I hope they get from my music that they matter. Your life matters. Your story matters. The world is a better place with you in it. Everyone you meet in this life is fighting a battle that you may not know nothing about, and that unites us. There's more that makes us similar than makes us different. We've all experienced heartbreak. We've all experienced loss. We've all had victories, and we've all been in love and had our hearts broken. And 100 years from today, you'll find that we all look the same. So that's the mission in the music, is just to do something positive for people and let people know that their life and their story matters.
Well, I love that's focus of your music, is to make sure that people understand that we all have similar upbringings, and maybe similar stories of getting through the tough times, no matter what they are. I mean, all of our experiences are different, obviously, and we don't all have the same backgrounds, but we all share commonality in that we're American, and that we love this country, and we love our veterans, and we love our first responders who put their lives on the line every single day. So we can unite around that. If we can't unite around anything else, we can certainly unite around that and the music.
Absolutely. And that's just what the mission of the Scotti Fraser Band is. And whether I'm with the band or I'm solo, and what the mission of Sergeant Records is just to let people know that you matter. Stay another day, and keep in the fight, and don't quit.
I think my new catchphrase is challenge accepted. So challenge accepted.
Absolutely. Never surrender on this life, my friend.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Scotti, for coming on the show tonight. We really appreciate all you're doing in the veteran community, and we definitely appreciate your music.
It's an absolute honor to spend the evening with you on this show, and I'm just so grateful to everyone at MBR and all the wonderful things you do for our brothers and sisters. You guys really, really do make a difference in a lot of people's lives, and it's just an honor to partner with you and to be part of it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Well, good luck in all your upcoming shows, and good luck at the Les Paul or the Gibson guitar warehouse
Gibson Guitar Factory. Yeah, heaven on earth.
Yes. Have fun with that. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.